Hey, what's up guys? Thank you so much for watching my project. I'm FaceHo and for the past few months I've been working really hard on this animation I made by myself. Before we dive in, I'd like to thank the organizer of this summer event for making this online RTX possible and allowing me to be a part of it. Be sure to check out the amazing work from other creators. So, let me introduce myself. I'm FaceHo, a 3D creator, and concerning RWBY, I must say this show holds a special place in my heart. It changed my life in so many ways, and I would never have been this inspired in my life if I'd never come across RWBY. Given its impact on me, I thought it would be interesting to share some behind-the-scenes details about my animation with you guys. By the way, a few months ago I created a Twitter account to share some updates about my animation. However, given the emotional rollercoaster of the recent months we've all been through, I haven't been in the right headspace to post. But now things are gradually getting better, and with this event hype, I feel inspired to start posting. So here are my Twitter accounts where I'll be sharing more about my work. I honestly would love to meet and speak with you guys. I've always been more into the silence part of the fandom, so yeah, I'd love that. My account will surely be mainly focused on RWBY, so come have a look. Now, let's dive into the creation process. So for those who are wondering, this entire animation was made on Blender, a free 3D software. By the way, I know many people in the fandom also create stuff on Blender, and to be honest, I'd also love to speak with you guys. At first, I started by doing a 3D RWBY Rose model. Nothing was planned at this point. In fact, I was just trying to create a model which looks like RWBY. And after several attempts, I ended up with this. Honestly, I'm really proud of how my RWBY model looks. After that, shading. All shaders were made procedurally into Blender. Right now, I consider I'm still in the process where I search what my style could look like. I didn't want to just copy the original RWBY style, you know. I really want a style where when people see my work, they immediately think, oh, it's that FaceHo guy who made that. With a cool RWBY model in hand, complete with a cape, hairs, bullet on the belt, we might think the job was done, right? Well, of course not. I was missing the most important thing about RWBY Rose, her weapon. Creating Crescent Rose was a challenging and complex process. I spent hours looking at every shot in the show where we can see it transforming, and that's how I managed to achieve my 3D model of one of the most cool, stylish, and complex weapons ever designed. Instantly, I got the motivation to do an animation. Initially, it was meant to be just a brief shot of RWBY shooting. But as idea flowed into my mind, this project expanded into a story of RWBY training against Cinder on a handmade scarecrow made from a ball, straw, and maybe you noticed the supposedly Thai household equipment. Next, I needed to work on the background. I took inspiration from the RWBY character shots. I've always loved the vibe it gives me, and I thought it would be perfect as a starting point. So actually, a lot of stuff in my background are made of geometry nodes. To explain simply what geometry nodes are all about, you can imagine it as a giant Lego construction where you can swap out a piece at any time without having to take the whole thing apart. These nodes allowed me dynamic control over lighting, floor, northern lights, and even the spinning circles inside Crescent Rose. Honestly, working on many procedural stuff like that was definitively my favorite part in this project. So at this point, the background for my animation was done. Animating was perhaps the most challenging aspect of the process. In our daily lives, we're constantly surrounded by movement, so in 3D animation, even the slightest mistake will be immediately noticeable. That's why I did what every 3D animator does. I grabbed my phone, put it on my shelf, and I started recording me doing every movement I wanted RWBY to do in my animation. At this point, I could animate knowing what I was doing was correct. And after months of animation, the project began to take shape. So we are now in the last step before actually ending this really long process. First comes lighting. I love doing the lighting, to be honest. It was a part where I had a lot of freedom as long as it looked good and makes sense. And it really allowed me to experiment and learn a lot. Then there was the simulation. Simulation allows us to recreate the behavior of various natural things like smoke or cloth. This was particularly crucial for animating RWBY's cape to move with her. Let's be honest, simulation was probably the part I hated the most. It's very heavy and the process can be long and frustrating. I needed simulation to achieve realistic effects like the movement of fireflies at the start, the cape or the straw. Compositing and sound effects were the final touch. Those were really fast and cool actually. Compositing is the step where the impact frame comes real. Let's be honest, I knew from the start I wanted an impact frame in my animation. So I looked at many references. I made several tries, I asked feedback from friends, and in fact, I spent 2 weeks on this impact frame. And I loved it. Regarding sound, I was quite anxious about it potentially spoiling my animation and not living up to expectation. I edited the sound using Reaper software, incorporating many sound effects from RWBY clips, especially for RWBY voice and certain whoosh effects. Also, the song used in my animation all featured leitmotif related to RWBY. By the way, I'd like to give a big shout out to Cinder, who has done an amazing work over the years cataloging every leitmotif of each character, place or concept from the score soundtrack. In conclusion, this project allowed me to learn a lot, and I'm really proud since it's my first time animating, my first time creating a human model, my first time doing rig, lighting a scene. In fact, I can almost say it was my first time doing all those first time. I'm proud of the result, and some shots from this animation will feature in my showreel. Thank you again for watching, guys. Thank you also for listening me all along this short review of my animation. And of course, a big thanks to RWBY for the dedication to RWBY all over these years. I have hopes that the future of RWBY is brilliant. Have a great day, y'all. See you soon.